In my most recent video, I touched on the Hebrew words katan na'ar for little boys. Little, the littlest ones. Christians will lie to you and try to tell you that these were angry teens, almost adults. The Hebrew word there again is katan na'ar, na'arim, little boys. So in a Christian translation, they would like you to believe that a group of angry teens came out, and Prophet Elijah wanted to teach them a lesson, so he called upon the Lord to curse them. And these two bears came and nibbled on the elbows of these young teens, and they didn't even feel any pain. Then they went away, and they would never do it again. That's what a Christian would want you to believe. But it's far more graphic than that in real life. Truthfully, okay, these two bears would have come and they would have tore apart to cleave to asunder, basically, these little boys, to burst open, ready to burst. That's literally what the Hebrew word means, bakah. So look at the word there for tore in English, and then look at the word for mauling in the Hebrew. They were mauled, right? Strong's 1234 means bakah, means to split open, to divide, to break, to breach, to break forth, to be ready to burst, to cleave asunder, cut out, divide, hatch, rend asunder, to break open, to make a breach. So obviously this is going to require more than a band-aid, probably. If you're ready to burst open and you're ripped open by some bears, I would think that you would probably need some medical attention. Just saying, especially if you're little tiny children, right? Imagine you dropping your children off at a daycare center and your kids are there playing and everything, and then somebody walks in the door and they're bald, and your kid laughs and points at this person's baldness. And then the daycare center person turns around and curses your children and then orders one of these people in the daycare center to cut apart your little child. You would think that person is demonic, right? Wow, this person, I don't want my kids around this. You would call the authorities and this person would be arrested and thrown into prison, right? Because this person would be evil. But yet we're supposed to turn off our conscience when we see God and his prophets doing something so petty to little boys who are learning. They're little kids, for crying out loud. They don't know. Sometimes little kids can be vicious. They can say mean things because they're growing. They don't know, right? So this would be very unforgiving for God to do this, to punish these 42 little boys for making fun of somebody's bald head. And what kind of prophet of God are you if you can't even handle the jeering of little boys, little children? You're going to fly off into a rage and curse them and have them mauled and then go on your way like nothing happened? Would we do this? Ask yourself, would we do this? Probably not. I wouldn't. So are we better examples of godliness than the prophet Elijah, who was a prophet of God? See the insanity that you have to be enveloped in when you defend the Bible, and you have to go out of your way to lie, right? These little love nibbles that the bears would have done to teach these kids a lesson, and they probably didn't feel any pain, either through adrenaline or maybe God just bestowed upon them some type of magic elixir, right? Running through their veins. It's just maddening. It's maddening listening to Christians lie to defend the Bible over and over and over again. And I love this piece of scripture, and Christians hate it because they know it bothers them. But it's very poignant, it's very cut to the chase, it's very practical, and it hits home. And that's why I was told on the last live stream, don't worry about that verse. Don't listen to it. You got a problem with it. I don't. Just don't listen to the Old Testament. Oh, yes. Because to avoid the Old Testament is to avoid all the wrath and the pettiness and the evil that the biblical God is capable of. Cutting babies from their mother's wombs, slitting babies' throats, killing all the firstborn, smite them all. If your child is disobedient, bring them to the public square, and have them stoned to death. Is it any wonder why the majority of Christian followers are very mean-spirited people? Why they have no problem acting vengeance upon people they disagree with, or just being very nasty and hostile? Go to a lot of these public little displays of like the social media on Twitter and YouTube, man. Some Christians are diabolical. They can be so mean-spirited and downright evil. But when you have a God and you have prophets of God displaying this evil behavior and this lack of patience and love, then is it any wonder why its followers exhibit the same mannerisms and hatred? No, it's not. When you have a God that will slaughter little children and send bears to maul these little children because they make fun of somebody's bald head, then it shouldn't be surprising to you that its followers are just as mean and vindictive and malicious as their biblical God is. Now, I don't believe this ever happened. Okay, for one thing, temporally it wouldn't work. Okay, you got 42 kids being mauled by two bears. That wouldn't work. Kids would be running and screaming for their lives. You wouldn't have two bears have the time to get to 42 of these kids. No way. Wouldn't happen. Okay, just think about things. 42 kids, you got two bears, do the math. Okay, so that doesn't work even mathematically. It's silly, it's ridiculous, it's far-fetched. But then when you start getting into the practicality of it, way that God would be so superficially just completely out of his element as far as being divine. He wouldn't be long-suffering. He wouldn't be patient. He wouldn't be love. He would be very petty, vindictive, and callous and evil, in my opinion. Okay, you would never do something like this, would you? Do you have a better morality than God and his prophets? Well, you would if that's what happened here. Okay. So don't let Christians lie to you. The Hebrew words are little children. Katan narim, kata na'ar, bakah. These little boys were mauled, split open, rendered asunder, and also to be ready to burst. That's what the word means. So if you wouldn't do this, then the prophet of God probably most likely didn't do this either, and God didn't send bears to maul these little boys. Okay. So just think about things, think about why Christians have to lie to defend scripture like this, and use your brain.